Are we on? We are on. Hello, everyone, for the next In Control webinar. This time live from London. This is a change. Usually we do it from all different studios, also in a little bit of different setup. Welcome, everyone, from London, from ETL, from Event Tech Live. Today with me, magnificent Elena Kovacevic from ECS. Hey, Elena, how are you doing?
Hi. Great. This is amazing event. I'm very excited to be here.
It was busy.
Thank you
It was busy today, right?
It was very busy, and I love it because this event connected me with Andy. But you will hear more.
You see, and Elena already announced Andy Batten, from our partners from One World, and also our friend. Hey, Andy, lovely to have you with us.
Hey, Addis. Hey, Elena. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity, and it's an honour to come and join you on your podcast. First of all, I've never done one before, but yeah, let's see how it goes, and hope everyone enjoys. We're in for a good conversation.
Honestly, we were thinking about what could we talk about in ETL. It was like somehow our colleague Daniel suggested, let's again talk about the evergreen, about check-in process, about how do we do registration, how do we do check-in, how do we do the process, and we were like, okay, who could we talk to? And your name was first that popped up in our discussions, and okay, let's ask Andy to do this. So welcome with us.
Nice,
and
pleasure.
of course, disclosure, we work closely with One World rental company that Andy works for, different events as a partner and everything. But also, Andy is a champion in this profession. And he knows what he does and what he knows what we are doing everything. But Elena, back to you. And that was one event that three of us worked together on an event. Let's speak about ECS in Germany this year, in Wiesbaden, close to Frankfurt. And let's speak about, I can say with quite a pride, 3,000 people checking flawlessly with zero queues. No waiting, no queues, nothing. You were in charge. You are the main showrunner. Tell us a bit.
Yeah, so European Collaboration Summit is fastly growing. So this year we had more than 3,000 people coming. We were actually last year here at ETL, where we met Andy and talked about registration and check-ins, because for 11 conferences we did registration in old way. Pre-printed badges, hostesses handling it. It was a mess. So the main challenge was, do we keep it like that and have in control everything with our partner run.events, handling all the segments of the event organization. And when we talked with Andy, we were talking about self-check-in. This was new to us. It was a challenge, but we were very excited to try it out. And then we had around 11 self-check-in points, and people were checking fastly and flawlessly, and it was amazing. We even have a YouTube video showing registration and people going in for 8 seconds. It was amazing.
8 seconds is good, I would say.
8 seconds is very good. Yeah. And Andy, a brother from another mother, helped us in that.
Thank you so much for your warm and kind words. That's really
well,
that's
he
really
wasn't
nice.
there personally, but we are not taking that personally. So
of course not. Of course not.
But I did mention that I'll be able to look after you, and I sent one of our in-house technicians to help you with run the event. And from what I heard, it went extremely well. So
yeah,
everyone
the support
was winning.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes, Andy. If we continue talking about ECS from your side, I will be talking from the run events point a bit later. The common decision that three of us have been talking that we will go for zebra printers in this case, and with registration which combines self-service, as I think mentioned 11 self-service registration points, and Just can you tell us, just from the one world point of view, how does this work from your side? Just to tell us that angle that nobody sees, but which is extremely important. How you guys do that? Because you are handling logistics, you are handling tech support, you are handling hardware. So I guess you need to have containers of hardware flying back and forth from the different places in the world and doing everything. Let us hear the stories that nobody knows. How the people who nobody sees in the background handled such a great work.
It's a really good question, Addison. Quite simply, when the company started, I think around 12, 13 years ago, my CEO, he started off with 14 iPads. As he started to get more connections and the industry started to realize what he did, he was then having to ship it out more, buy more, ship it out more. It comes to the point where he realized that it was costing so much money and also so many air miles. It wasn't becoming sustainable. So he just thought, right, I need to find a solution for this. So he started to buy venues or buy property in different places in the world, and just for the pure reason of being able to store equipment there in case one of his clients, a returning client, said, okay, we got an event there in a week or in another month or maybe in 2 months' time, instead of having to ship it back to the UK to then ship it back out, it was just much more cost effective to do it that way. And following that pattern and becoming bigger and bigger, that's where, again, it's just been easier now for us to be able to ship anything within a day anywhere in the world for a cost-effective price. So yeah, that would probably be where we would start for that, the start of the journey. And then obviously since I've been starting to work there, which is now coming up to 3 years in February, I've seen 2 new depots open. The most recent one in Rotterdam,
Nice.
and the one before that in New Jersey.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
So from our point of view as run.events, it was actually also the first time working with you guys. And I need to say that was actually completely awesome. For me, the learning was how to do event 3,000 people without queues, because that was basically so. Talking to Elena, we said, okay, we will have 11 self-service standing stations. We will have 6 manned registration. That's for the people who don't want, can't handle, or whatever self-service. However, it was an IT audience, a tech audience. So, like that kind of audience is more prone to actually try to use self-service opportunities. And then, of course, to have the support desk for the cases where something goes wrong. And there are always few cases where something goes wrong. They didn't register in time, or their badge is not there, or like this typical case. Learning for me, it was interesting. I was talking later to the hostesses on the 6 manned stations.
Mm-hmm.
They were most of the time doing nothing.
Sure.
So people were either on the self-service desks or on the support desk.
Yeah.
This middle layer, if we can call it like that, was to a large degree either not necessary, or maybe we could decrease it. Maybe we could say we can have 2 or 3 manned stations, and maybe have 2-3 more people on the support desk. Maybe to switch that.
Sure.
But the main load was really on the self-service stations.
Sure.
From our side, we made really one-touch software, which people would just come with the QR codes. They would scan their QR code. Then the badge would be out. The people from one world would be there if a printer would start malfunctioning, and it's printers. They sometimes start malfunctioning. And now I'm coming to the second topic I want to talk about you, and it's often that we get the question from our customers, which printer should we use?
Okay.
I've also even got a blog post, a long read blog post about that one. What if? Like if that, then that. If that, then that.
Sure.
You are the guy sending printers all over the world.
Okay.
Can you give us your two and honest talk? This is not a marketing webinar. We never do the marketing webinars.
No,
we always do a purely practical.
Okay.
Level printers
Sure.
versus Zebra's thermal printers,
Sure.
versus inkjet printers,
Sure.
versus high-end printers, which can do basically anything.
Okay. So, being in sales, I'm always customer facing and always asking questions to find out answers as quickly as possible. Because if the right questions aren't asked or no question is asked, how are you going to know
Exactly.
the solution for it? So, first of all, there are so many different amazing software providers now in the registration, in the events industry. I try to find out as much information as possible around someone's software. As a company, an IT rental company, we have all the printers.
Yep.
But what it is is finding what is compatible with the software. So Zebra printers, Epson printers. I mean, some companies are only kind of like prone to use one printer because that's what their software is compatible with.
Mm-hmm.
But now, just to be more flexible, I think most companies are now making their software compatible with all printers on the market. And that gives you then the choice. But then also, regarding their customers' needs as well, they need to listen to what their customer needs. Do they have their own pre-printed badges? Do they need us to source them badges? That's when we're going down a Zebra, a thermal route, because you need to have pre-printed badges beforehand. And with that in mind, there is a long process to get the pre-printed badges. It can take up to 3 weeks. Like if we're sourcing pre-printed badges for another company, we say, look, we need this done a week before the event, which means we need to start planning. You need to give us a decision a month before, before the event. Otherwise, there's going to be a rush. We're not going to be able to get them done in time. On the other side of things, when a company prefers to use an Epson printer, normally a 3500, which has its own ink, it can print on site. There's no need to get pre-printed badges because it's just printing on site as it comes. So around that's how, again, you're starting to work out, and I can put a quote together for a particular company to meet their expectations around a certain event.
So from our perspective, when we are talking about with ECS people, the main is, as you said, we first start talking to the customers. What's the idea? Because ECS is actually 2 joint conferences. The first question is, do you guys need 2 separate badges? Separate badge designs?
Yeah.
Or do you do something like we have here at ETL, 2 conferences, but 1 badge design for the camera, 1 badge design, which will basically include both logos.
Right.
No, the idea was they need to have 2 really different badges.
Yeah, sure.
The magenta one and the blue one.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
And then that basically means we are either going for Epsons, or we have 2 different registration points, one for one event and one for another event.
Yeah.
The next thing we were talking about, we had to talk about is Zebras are faster.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Zebra will print the badge in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Epson itself will need like 6 to 7 seconds to print the badge, which is still good. Don't get me wrong, but it's like 3,000 people. If you add 5 seconds, the math is simple. It takes more. And also, it's of course a cost point. Epsons do cost more than Zebras. And Epson also have one drawback, that from time to time you need to change the ink. And when you are changing the ink, you're like 2 to 3 minutes out of service with one printer.
Yeah.
On the end, we decided to go with pre-printed with Zebras and
Sure.
two kinds of pre-printed badges.
Mm-hmm.
It worked, but what I'm trying to say here, it's very important to advise customers, to advise organizers that we can offer different choices. Our software, as you said, can support all of them.
Exactly.
But what does that mean for you? What are the consequences to your event?
Okay, so everyone's idea of an amazing event is, what was the registration like? Did it take you long to get in? Was there a queue? Right?
Of course.
So keeping those things in mind, again, with your clients on the other side, how many people are you expecting? If you've got 3,000, for instance, you're going to need a lot of stations to keep the queues down. That's the first thing. With that in mind, when you do have an Epson printer, first of all, yeah, it is more expensive because it's the ink that costs most money. Okay, it's not cost effective. You know, there's no option to buy cheap ink. It is at its price, and that's why, because it's ink heavy, the Epson printer is always going to take longer to print rather than a thermal print, which is on a Zebra.
Of course.
So coming back to your question, which is what is the right answer, or would you go down? Would I say for you to? Oh no, you should use an Epson for this. Should you use a Zebra printer? I think that comes down as well. If you have a great relationship with the venue manager, it's always good to be on their side because they're going to be helping you out mainly. And is there going to be a hard line that they're going to be able to give you for free for the connection? Because that's the other thing to really think about. Is it going to be in a crowded area when I don't have a hard line and we're running off a router to rely on the cellular network in an area where there's millions of people? It could be very bad.
It could be an issue.
It could be an issue. So all of these need to be discussed like in depth around everyone in the team or everyone who is supporting the event, just to find out what's the best option here.
Yeah, you touched really great point, and we are coming back to Elena for a few minutes here. Internet connection. That's one thing that's totally neglected, and thank you for raising that up.
You're welcome.
It's easy to get the internet connection support desk. Yeah, each venue will offer you that. But if you have scattered stations around the registration hall, you need to know where your internet is, because 5G, 4G, with 3,000 people, it's going to crash.
At one point,
it just will.
Yeah,
it's a math.
Yeah, exactly. The bandwidth is just
it's a math.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi. That's a basically that's a gamble.
It is. Yeah.
That's a gamble.
Yeah.
So I know what Elena did, and I'm passing it to you now. They really did have, or the venue has provided the landlines, which is really good for the internet. But they also, what they did, they had 3 or 4 different Wi-Fis. One for the global attendees. Attendees. Now, don't get me wrong. That was the one to most likely to fail. Well, it did, but that was the one. And few safeguards, which were like for sponsors, for organizers, and for speakers.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more? How did you organize it?
What Andy said, it was really a great partnership with both of you, but with the venue as well. So the venue provided us with a whole map where we can have electricity and also a connection to internet. So that's how we planned those stations on the floor.
Sure.
And that helped us in planning how the self-check-in stations were being positioned.
Another question now for both of you, but I will start with Elena, is the safety and security which is connected to badging and to check-in control and to entrance control. We have touched on the basic points like printers and software and everything which is true, but with the experience from the previous years, we get a certain amount of attendees, not much, but a certain amount, which come from the replacement badges.
Sure.
Now it's easy to put a replacement badge. Yeah. But what are the consequences of replacement badges? Now I can go and say, yeah, Andy has forgot his badge in the room, in the hotel room, so he's asking for a new one. So it's as simple as that. But then again, what happened to Andy's second badge? Did Andy really forget the room? Did he throw it away? Or did this second badge finish in somebody else's hands whose intentions might not be that valid? It could be as simple as trying to avoid to pay the event fee. But also you have people at the event who are unaccounted for, who are just there and you don't know that they are there. Okay. So what we did now with ECS, let's now for Elena, the topic of replacement badges and invalidating the replaced old badges.
Yeah, that was covered by run events. So to go in past, we were using different kind of softwares. Now I'm talking to all event organizers that are listening to this podcast. So with run events, we handled even that one. The trouble was people coming and telling us different kind of reasons. They forgot, mostly they forgot badges in a hotel or tear it down or whatever. So run events handled that part within the app, and our support desk knew at every point when attendee comes and asks for a new badge if that person is already checked in. So um, we knew how to do we want to invalidate? Do we believe that person? But we knew that he or she is already checked in.
But what would happen if somebody would take the old badge or the person and try to check into a session or go to a sponsor booth and get a sponsor or just try to use our app
He couldn't.
for
Yeah.
connection, just for the making connections.
Yeah, he couldn't because he or she took the new badge. We invalidate the previous one, gave her or him a new badge, and when he or she tried to get in on the session, um, the previous one, the first one she gets, is invalidated. So she couldn't get in. So we knew that only one is working.
So one thing which we did, Andy, with your stations, and we're checking with you guys is that when somebody would come with a ticket code, with a ticket QR code,
Yes.
and print the badge, the self-service stations would actually know, okay, there was a badge before. We are invalidating it. We are making that badge completely invalid. So if somebody would walk in,
Okay.
it would be cancelled. But there here is a new badge for that attendee.
Mm.
So this is one concept which we have seen working nicely, which
Very
was
good.
working across check-in badge printing, but also across the session check-in, because we had session check-in in front of all the session rooms, or the global entry check-in for people who were entering or leaving the venue. We would always do, okay, this is there's a replacement badge, this is a cancel badge, there's a cancel badge. Even security would know, okay, there is somebody with a cancel badge walking out of the building.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
now it's a business decision how to identify potential problem to actually deal with that,
Yeah.
which
Totally.
was important.
Yeah, it was very, very important part because for us is very important to be in control of our event and to have this one, the first experience for attendee handled fast and flawlessly. And then you don't have any kind of stress as an organizer
Mhm.
and also as an attendee.
Yeah.
Because if you are stuck in a queue and you are late for a keynote, it's stressful
Yeah.
and you will as an organizer get very bad feedback.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. I think I remember one of my first questions that I asked you when I was trying to work out how to put this quote over
Yeah.
and understand like how many printers that you needed. Do you have a floor plan? Do you have a site plan? Can you send that over to me ASAP?
Yes.
And then when you sent it over, I was like, okay, there's a lot here to unwrap.
Yeah.
Like first thing I knew, well, this is a big area. There are a lot of stations. I was expecting a desk at like the front of somewhere, which is normally the setup for most companies, where yours was scattered in the middle. And the first thing that come to my mind was, how are we going to run power to it, and how are we going to get the internet connection there? But you already had all of that under control, and I didn't have to worry, which was great, because all I wanted to do was send lots of extension links. But then there's the other problem with that, with how are you going to keep that safe from people tripping over? So these are all very, very big questions that need to come and they need to be answered.
Those are actually two main questions we had also from our side, and this is the same plan that you have got. We had the from the venue, basically telling us where the electricity points are.
Amazing.
And where the internet basic connections are. It was helpful. It was really helpful. It's a new venue. It was venue that was finished building in 2019. So obviously the new venues usually do have this kind of infrastructure already in place. But this is it's actually true. And then it really is the second one. We had imagine 3,000 people going in, and that's the reason why it was scattered. And I understand why you're saying it's like if you put 3,000 people through one door,
Yeah.
it's not going to be good.
I really, yeah. And now looking at the video that you saw, it does make complete sense why he was choosing to do it like that. It was great to see that there was no queues, 8 seconds to get a badge, everyone wins.
So the whole idea is let people everywhere in.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really control where they come in,
Mm-hmm.
but we put the security security check, if you want. It's not really a check, but security measures one step behind. If you don't have a badge, well, basically you're not even able to get the food. So and not able to attend sessions, not able to do anything else. So we were like, okay, maybe we don't have control of the front door, but do we really care? In this case, besides we don't, and that's the reason why the setup is as you can see.
Absolutely, yeah, makes total sense. And then going into the actual setup for the event, there was no rush with this. We wasn't rushing. We had a plan, and we had a long run up, and we was able to really strategically plan how we were going to attack the event. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. The event was in Germany.
Yes, event was in Wiesbaden, Germany, and it really went great. And now I'm thinking it's not only about attendees; it's about other stakeholders as well, sponsors, speakers. They also want to get in fast and flawlessly.
There you go.
So we handled everything really quite easy. Even though we were under the stress, like I imagined whole team standing, like just looking at those stations, what will happen?
Is it going to work? Is it going to work?
Yeah. But everything
and
was
Question
really...
that you have every year.
Hey, and which goes on to my the next pointer, where I was so adamant to work out how your software, works. So I got our in-house technician. I think we done a Zoom call. We went through it all in-house, even before any of the printers were even anywhere near the venue, anywhere near Germany, and we'd already had to work it out. We was test printing over and over again, making sure it has the right format. So it was less stress. Imagine getting on site and then not actually realizing that it does this.
That would be an issue.
It would.
No, I need to say because I was there at a place and we're setting 11 Zebra printers like within 4 hours. They're basically done within 4 hours.
That's
and
kind of very fun.
If you know Zebra printers, that's awesome because they can be cheeky.
Yes.
They can be very cheeky. No, that was actually working. That part was working very well. But you mentioned actually one really good point. I would like to circle shortly back. Sponsors and exhibitors. I know you guys get separate line for their registration, and that was the only situation. That was the only exception of us using zebras. This is where we used absence, if I remember well, because we used a similar badge format. It was the same design, so it was. If you really would look closely, you wouldn't really recognize the difference. But with sponsors, there were different sponsor levels, so diamond, gold, premium, all that. Which all they had a little bit different badge design stuff. It was like, okay, this is where you use absence. Because though it's a smaller number of badges, it's smaller stuff. But circling back to security, I know that you did have questions from sponsors. I could not scan this lead. I could not retrieve this lead because app is telling me the expired badge. How have you been handling those situations?
Not sure if I understood
Basically,
correctly.
I have
Yeah.
been called one of those situations where sponsors that have been trying to scan the lead, and the app would be saying expired badge. This is exactly the situation. Somebody came with a canceled badge.
Yeah,
Okay.
canceled badge. Yeah, that is the situation. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
So that is the situation where attendee had a double badge. The previous talk that we had. So then when sponsor mentioned that, we knew that there is an attendee having a double badge, and it will come to us and say that he needs a new badge because QR code is basically not working.
The situation here where I was present was basically that person got a badge. They got a badge on day one. Forgot it in the hotel on day two. Came back on day three, but with the first batch. That can happen.
Yeah.
And they entered directly into Expo, went to a sponsor. Sponsor scanned the list, no. So what we then did, basically, we invalidated both previous badges and issued the third badge. The person since it was only the third and the last day of the event, it was like nothing was going to happen, but you've got three badges now. Good for you.
That is good. When you have this kind of event management platform behind you as an event organizer, you know that everything will be handled immediately. We had guys from run.events in place, so they were handling every small issue that we have. It was like just a few. From behind, they saw in the system what was the issue, and it was solved immediately. Yeah.
Elena, I've got two questions for you now at once, because I'm just I'm just looking at the script. I've actually got a script here. Believe it or not, we are not totally free. We are kind of freestyling, but not totally freestyling. The one is, now please answer me if Andy wouldn't be here, if it was only you and me talking.
Yeah.
You can listen. You can listen, it's fine. Doing check-in and badging yourself versus renting hardware versus going full outsourcing with one rental or one world rental companies similar to one world rental. What were your main drives for choosing A versus B versus C? And what have you been promising? What was your expectation as a result? Why were you doing A? I mean, we obviously know now that you went for the option C, outsourcing that to largest part, but it's special for her.
Can I just jump in quickly before you answer that?
Please do.
Because you only knew about A and B before you met me, and I introduced you to C.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes. That is the answer. And I would never go back.
He's a salesman.
Yeah. That's why we are partners.
Yeah. But it made sense. And that's it.
It really did, and we will never go back to the solutions that we had. I wouldn't call them solutions. It was just we were trying to handle registration part, and we knew that is the most important first experience from attendees, and we always thought we need to have this in control. We cannot have different kind of partner, supplier. We were so scared of having a partner there because then you lose control. It's not under your control.
Absolutely.
But now when I see it, I don't have this kind of problem of having a partner as Run Events. Run Events is also our partner.
I would even argue that most event teams are usually small teams. You think when you come to ETL, it's like hundreds of people organizing that. When it's 5 or 6.
That's right.
This is all what it is. And the situation of most of the events is just like that. The question is, where do you want to spread your resources? Do you want to really spend time and emotional energy on thinking about where do I get my badge paper?
Yeah.
Or do you actually want to make the experience of the attendees better? What's your task as a main showrunner?
Yeah. now I see that our event can easily excel on other segments because registration is really taken care of. And now we can think about different, bigger stuff, how to upscale the event experience.
Absolutely.
Because registration done.
Yeah, that's it.
Funny enough, we see very similar from the run events. When people see run events, about wow, this is great, but we are actually doing everything in Excel and it kind of works.
Mm-hmm.
I call them Excel ninjas, by the way, but it's like, yes, it does work, but do you really want to spend your time jiggling and wriggling Excel sheets,
Oh my God.
or do you want to concentrate on actually delivering good event?
Absolutely.
What's your job as an event, as a showrunner, as an event runner?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, if you really need to have 10 Excel sheets with your sponsors and exhibitors in their booths, or with speakers, except of actually using the software which is there for that, and actually just doing your job to deliver a better event,
Absolutely.
then but it's also part of a mindset. We see that
It
it's a
is.
growth process with a lot of event organizers.
It is. Don't go in past. We also used Excel, but 10 years ago maybe, because everything is now in run events. We don't need an Excel. We don't need to export, import, to use different kind of solutions. And I don't want to go back in past.
The whole idea, and I think we can store because we've got like 6 more minutes of the main time, and then we'll open for the questions if there are any. Right now, I'm just looking at the questions. We have no questions. We have only one. Greetings from Sarajevo with a heart. That's what we got.
Nice.
So
Nice.
thanks for everyone for greetings from Sarajevo.
Thank you
Greetings
so
back.
much.
It's my birth city as well, so there's
Oh,
that.
okay. There you go.
Circling back to sponsors. If we now to follow the whole journey, as we said, attendees registering without queues, sponsors having their own registration, attendees and sponsors getting badges, attendees coming to sponsor booths with those same badges, and sponsors using that one unified app to scan the badges and already have lead retrieval, lead qualification, lead management. This is the experience we are talking, which is making event actually better for everyone. It really is cutting down the registration times, but making everything possible with much less effort. I mean, what does sponsor want? What do sponsors do? They want to talk to the people who come to their booths, like here, or do they want to have open Excel sheets writing down the people's details?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's what they want to do?
Yeah.
They actually want to talk to people to make new leads, not to be writing down the unnecessary details for something that can be totally automatized.
Yeah. You have that right. We handled registration, as you know. I'm in a event business for more than 15 years, and I know on each event, it doesn't matter how the scale of the event. Attendees always, and sponsors and speakers, talk about registration, queues, and food.
Yeah.
So this year we didn't have those topics live because registration went smoothly. Food was amazing. So
3 things you cannot fail on:
yeah,
attendee check-in,
Correct.
food, and the program.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. That's
Everything
famous.
else you are allowed to fail on, not on those 3 things.
Yeah, and we know
Totally.
we handle program amazingly because our event is the largest Microsoft 365 conference in whole world. So we know program is done, registration done. We just need to take care of food.
So we did run a survey towards the end of the event, asking a few questions. A few of them were about DCS, about the registration and sponsor satisfaction, sponsor sleep. Out of 600 people who actually answered the survey, they were from star ratings 1 to 5. There were 5 who gave 4 stars, one who gave 1 star, and I think that person didn't actually understand how the rating things work, but doesn't matter.
Oh, wow.
590 something people answered their experience in check-in and registration was 5 stars.
Oh, round of applause. Congratulations,
So
guys.
that was actually, I mean, Andy, also to you.
Needs to be celebrated.
Also to you.
100%.
And we'll get a beer later. That's
thank
fine.
you, sir.
No, but this is something like out of 3,000 attendees, 600 filled in the survey,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a stellar result. I need to say that really was a stellar. It was a very similar experience with sponsors. I think even higher, but it was less smaller, because we had like 200-300 sponsors out of those 3,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much very similar results from sponsors about their experience as a sponsor with the whole system. The sponsor check-in, sponsor registration, the lead retrieval process, the lead management process, lead qualification process. So this
Again,
is
I
what
need
makes
to mention
it,
8 seconds. Like, it tells it all.
So people, I'm looking at the LinkedIn feed. There are 2 questions. Anto, help me. Why don't I see those questions? I need Anto to read me the questions. You can have Anto in the background. You just don't see him because he's literally behind the camera now. But he's passing me this one. How many self-service stations do you recommend per 1,000 people? Sometimes organizers struggle with low registration numbers. Andy, I would say this one is for you.
Okay.
Oh,
So the first question that I would ask back is that 1,000 people, are they turning up at the same time or at scattered times? If they're turning up at once, then you need to have something structured as that you did in your last event to make sure that there's not going to be any queues. And now, if that is the case, I'd say, I mean, look, I work with some software companies that are like sometimes way overkill, just to make sure in case there's anyone that they wasn't expecting to come in. So they might have only needed 4, but they'll take 7. You know, just in case.
I know.
And I'll always, as well, depending on how big the project is, as coming from a matter of service to my clients, to my friends, customers, put in another, like a few things, like maybe just as backup, maybe some spares. Okay, we can do that,
Of course.
But back to your question, I'd say probably say 6 for 1,000, maybe 7.
Which would handle basically 150 to 180 people per station,
Per station, yeah.
which I would say sounds quite about right.
Yeah, or maybe more. Right, but yeah, I mean, it depends. But
Sounds
on average,
quite about right.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the second question is, I would like to know your thoughts on attendees printing badges at home. Really good question. We didn't touch this one.
Yeah.
Printing badges at home or not using badges at all, but only mobile apps and QR codes. I think we are going to prolong this webinar for 5 more minutes.
That's okay.
It could be used for attendees. So I see here, it's again from Sead from the Azure Security Summit. I would say there are 2 questions. One is print at home badges. We have seen this becoming more and more popular in the website. However, with those badges, then you need, I'm going to take to be like now my 2 cents and pass you. If you do this, then you need to make sure to have entrance control to actually know who came in. Because if you print badges upon the arrival, then you also can combine printing badges and checking. It's one process. It's one mouse click if you want.
Yeah.
If you don't.
Yeah.
If you have print at home, this basically means that I can print my badge at home but never show up for different reasons. I might get sick. There might be something more urgent that came up. This is where I would say you need to have a second step, which is then the check-in, entrance check-in, or just global check-in, however you want to call that. What's your opinion of you both on that one?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty satisfied with this one, especially because this solution would coming in and doing self-checking. Myself, I don't have a printer at my home. So I need to think about where to print my badge.
Well, that would not be the only option. That would be one of the possible options.
I'm just thinking like an attendee of a different conference. The other point is I really would like to have this designed and printed proper badge on proper print paper, and not to have some kind of plastic, then you need to get it on in or something like that. The other point is, which we discussed, is security of checking in, missing your badge, printing 3 badges at your home, giving it to your colleagues, coming in.
Well, and obviously the other ones, two other ones would be invalidated, but that's a valid point.
Sure. If you don't go with a self check-in, that is the struggle that I think it would be.
It is a security point. I say this like, even if I don't print it 3 times, which would, with run events, which would cause 3 different badges with different QR codes to be printed. What if I print it only once, but go to the first copy shop and copy it? Because usually all those systems work that you print on a A4 sheet of paper, and then you should fold it in a proper way.
Sure. Yeah.
And then you've got 3 Andys at the conference.
Yeah.
Other 2 are don't care how they are called, but they look too bad. So it's, I don't know. What do you think?
So I've printed my badge from home before, and the reason being that I decided, well, it was an option, and I had a printer. I mean, some people don't, so it's not an option for them, but I did, and I thought I'm going to do it just so, not that I had any sort of problem with queuing, or I didn't think there might be a queue, but I could just walk straight in, and they had some sustainable kind of cardboard wallets that you could just put the paper in.
Okay.
It was just being able to just walk in like that, which I thought was a really nice idea.
That's good. You can brand it with that's. I'm thinking about sponsoring and branding that card. Yeah.
With I mean, with that in mind, the company who is supplying the badge holders, they need to make sure that they're going to be compatible with whatever that has in the middle, because there might be the case where, the cardboard comes up a bit too high, you can't see their name. There's all these things to consider, really digging deep just to make sure that is that going to be a viable option. Now, I know that some clients that will not be an option for them, because it's the event's that prestige, if it were, that they're gonna want a badge which is maybe tear resistant, not going to always look good, never going to need another one to print. You see, unless they did generally lose it. You can't put that down to anyone's fault apart from the person.
You also have people who want to collect the badges of the events they attended. You always have those. Yeah.
I have a drawer somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm going to throw another one in this one. Usually, actually 2 points. Usually, most I see this printed home is that people get some of the plastic badge holders. They are that supposed to. I hate plastic.
So does most people now in
this
industry.
Hate plastic. So I have seen a company in Spain actually printing paper cardboard frames. But they are then very soft.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm coming to my second point of that one. If you print a badge at home, but then you are supposed to pick up the badge holder, pick up the lanyard, and then to go through some kind of registration, global check-in, entrance control process, did we really save the time? And how much time has been really saved?
Yeah.
So
what's the reason behind?
I'm not dedicatedly against that.
Mm-hmm.
Run events support that option. But I know that until now, only one of our customers have wanted to use that.
Sure. Yeah, that was new.
And the second question from Said was a really good one. He said, badgeless. I would rephrase it in Said's name, Said, is digital badges. I have seen this being tried on at least 10 events until now, or even more, and I've never seen it working. Don't get me wrong, nobody is walking like this with their phones to the event.
No.
And basically, if you go digital, may I tell an anecdote? Just a small one. I have been 2 weeks ago in Brussels for an event, and Run Events was doing the event for them. And so small event, they were doing badging and printing on their own. So they had printers, they had stuff, they were using our software. My daughter wanted to come to England to visit her best friend. And the idea was she's traveling with me to Brussels, and then a common friend would take her and bring her to England. And I was telling Hannah, to my daughter, like, okay, but since I'm paying for your flight to England, you need to work. You need to stand there behind the registration desk in Brussels and to help those people do the check-in process. She's 12.
Wow.
She was like, okay, I will gladly do that. Why I'm saying this, fast forward, all worked nice, all worked fast and flawlessly. I was asking Hannah, what was your main problem? What was the main issue with all of that? She was like, understanding Dutch names.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And now, if you know the Dutch people, in this case it was Belgium, but you know how the Belgium do have Dutch names and speak Dutch. There's a lot of vocals that normal Europeans are not able to pronounce. This is my intended part against Dutch and Belgian people. I love them, but I like joking with them sometimes. Why I'm saying this? I see Andy, I see Elena. Even if I'm not able to understand or pronounce the name from somebody, I can please scan the badge and contact you on LinkedIn later.
Of course.
The hurdle of you spelling your name and me trying to find it in LinkedIn or in some digital application is too high for me. I wouldn't go for it. Each time when I was in a badgeless event, I have seen organizers really, really regretting it.
Well, you need to rely on business cards. And if you don't have business cards, then it's very tough to get details unless you're going straight in.
And there's another one.
And taking a phone number and a thing. But that sometimes be quite challenging, also take up a lot of time where, the old school, well,
there's another question. So, Andy, here's my business card. And you come home in 7 days, it's like, who was this guy?
Yeah.
What did I talk to him about? It's a valid question because you have probably met 200 people today as well as I did, as well as Elena did.
Correct.
If you don't have a way to remember the context of our conversation, you're just probably going to throw it away. That's better with badge because the proper lead retrieval, you can save the context. You can say, I was talking to Andy about partnership on the check-in and badging.
Yes.
Catch up in April.
Catch up in April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think we did.
Which is exactly what we did. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice,
I'm totally against doing at the event as an event organizer, seeing sponsors and attendees scanning QR codes from LinkedIn to connect. And again, you don't have a way to remember with whom did you connect. You don't have notes, you don't have anything. And it's really unpolite not to have a proper badge from the event that you are attending. You are registered to that event. And
there's a lot of work, time and effort that's gone into the badge. And also just naturally, because we work in the events industry, and we are like critical if the badges aren't that good. And we'd be like, the badge isn't that great. Can be a bit of a throw in the wrong direction if the badge quality isn't good. I mean, it's happened sometimes where printing companies have got it wrong sometimes,
What happened with us briefly, we had an issue with the lead scanning app this morning. It wasn't working. So what I was doing, I was actually taking photos of the badges and putting it in Apple Notes with the comment of the context.
Yeah.
It was taking at least 5 times as much time as it would be just take properly scanning the lead.
There you go.
It is what it is.
Yeah. But no, I think we can agree that, good badge, again.
Good badge.
it's a critical point of a successful event.
I will be the first one to welcome a new idea about that one.
Okay.
But the new idea needs to work.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
It needs to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
New idea which doesn't work doesn't help anybody.
Totally
Right.
agree.
We are a bit over our time. Not okay. We are not. We are good. I thought we are a bit over our time. Anto, do
So
we have any more
covered
questions?
all questions. Nice.
We did. That's the time for Andy and me to grab a beer and for Elena to grab a good glass of wine. Too early,
Yeah,
too early,
too
but
Still
My
working.
managers might be watching, so let's wait for a few
it's
hours.
too early. It's too early. I will be saying it's 4 p.m. Something. No, Andy, thank you very much.
No,
Elena,
thank you.
Thank you.
lovely as always.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you for
It's been good
both,
fun.
both of
And
you.
I would like you from our side, from Run Events, we are on Run Events booth here to thank both of you for the partnership, for the friendship in the meantime, and let's just keep doing this.
100%. 100%.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
See you next May
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Düsseldorf.
Hello.
Yeah,
Let's
we
go.
are going to see each other.
100%.
Yeah.
We're doing it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Andy, thanks.
Thanks,
Take care,
guys.
people.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Mate.